Felicia Taghizadeh, founder and CEO of Guilt to Great Coaching. And I am so glad that you're here because I want to share with you my top 5 tips for guilt-free parenting. Who doesn't want that? Parents today are overwhelmed with guilt. I had it myself. A few years ago, I quit being a lawyer because I felt guilty being at work all day while my son was out with his babysitter. It didn't help though. Once I became a stay-at-home mom, I still felt guilty. This time because I felt like I was wasting my law degree. Being home with my son was taking 90% of my attention and only 20% of my brain, and I wasn't happy. So then of course I felt guilty about not being happy staying home with him. But you know what? I had enough of guilt. And so I came up with these top 5 tips that I want to share with you and that I use with my clients to help them get rid of the guilt. It comes from everywhere. Our moms, our mother-in-laws, society telling us we should be a tiger mom or be like the French mom. Everyone's trying to tell us how we should be as parents. Really, you need to connect to your own motivations and your own values. So here we go. Here's my top 5 tips. Tip number 1, what are your top 3 values? By knowing your top 3 values as a parent, you'll be able to connect your choices to those values so that when someone comes along and tries to throw you off your game, you don't get thrown. A client of mine got really stressed out anytime she was in a situation where she had to get her kids fast food. And she didn't know why she got so stressed out. Well, in working with her, we identified that nutrition was one of her top values. So then once she knew that, it made total sense that she was getting stressed out and felt guilty about going for fast food. Knowing that value though, she was also then able to make educated decisions. She knew that nutrition was important, so she could bring healthy snacks with her. If she had to stop at fast food, she just planned an extra healthy dinner or a healthier meal the next day. So knowing your top 3 values really helps you understand why you are making certain choices as a parent so that you don't have to feel guilty about them. So tip number 2 for being a guilt-free parent is practice centering. Now this is the one that's a little bit woohoo out there and not everybody's familiar with it, but meditation and centering are great tools to helping you become guilt-free. Why? Another client of mine would get really stressed out when her kids would act up. It didn't matter, tying their shoelaces, not getting into the car. She would really feel like she was going to explode and would just start yelling at them. So then of course she felt guilty for yelling. Now what I had her do was practice centering, just 5 minutes a day. What that centering did was that it helped her cultivate a moment to pause. So when she was in those situations where the kids were going nuts, which they're going to do, they're kids, she was able to stop right before she was going to explode. Not every time, but some of the time. And by stopping, she was able to choose her actions. She was no longer reacting to every situation. She was pausing, thinking, and then choosing how to act. So then she didn't feel guilty about yelling quite as often because she wasn't doing it quite as much. So tip number 2 is practice centering. Tip number 3 is to walk and talk. So what do I mean by this? Everybody knows what walk the talk means, and everyone has encountered people who talk the walk, right? They tell you what to do without doing it themselves. What I want you to do is start walking and talking. So another client I had, she would have to put her daughter to bed every night and she'd go through the whole rigmarole that we do, right? Teeth brushing, jammies, bath time, story, songs, prayers. And when she would finish the whole routine, her daughter would invariably say, "I'm hungry, Mom. I need a snack." Now, what did my client do? She always felt like she wanted to help her daughter feel not hungry and like she needed some alone time to go and read a book and just relax. No matter which choice she made, she was feeling guilty about it. What I said to her was, hey, how about if you try this thing called walk and talk? What you do is, no matter which choice you make, talk it out loud. So if you go down to get your daughter a cheese stick, say, "Honey, I am a great mom because I am so loving and so kind that I am going to go downstairs and get you your cheese stick so that you don't feel hungry." By walking that talk, she was totally able to, again, understand why she was making the specific choice. And as a bonus, she was teaching her daughter what it meant to actually be love, what it means to actually be kind, and what it means to show empathy for another human being. Same thing if she made the other choice. No, honey, you need to go to sleep. I'm going to go read a book. And I'm going to do that because I need independence and I value sanity, right? She could come up with values that aligned with the choice that she was making. By walking and talking, she was able to connect better, and her daughter understood better why her mom was making that choice. The fourth thing that I want you to practice for being a guilt-free parent is to change this one word. The word have. You know, I have to do the dishes. I have to drive my kids to after-school activities again. I have to make dinner when what I'd really like to do is go out. I have to do that huge pile of laundry. This word, I have to, is everywhere in our society today, and it really is bringing us down. Why? When you say, I have to, you feel like you don't have any choice in the matter. You feel like you're disempowered, like you're a victim, and nobody likes to live that way. It makes you feel unhappy, which can lead to guilt. So I want you to take have to and turn it into I want to. Let's try it out. I want to drive my kids to their after-school activities because that gives me a time to connect with them and really see what they were doing today. I want to do that giant pile of laundry because then tomorrow I'll have my favorite outfit, my kids will have their favorite outfits, and morning will be so easy. Everyone will get dressed and we'll be off to school in no time. I want to cook dinner tonight because it's healthier, it's going to save me money, and I know that it's going to be less stressful than eating in a restaurant. So change that one word and you'll change your life. Finally, my last, fifth, and final tip for being a guilt-free parent is to count what's right. I had a client who, again, hated parenting. Every day, she felt like she was doing a terrible job of it, that her kids should have gotten another mom because she wasn't good enough. And I said, well, what are you doing at the end of the day? And she said, well, I get into bed and I start thinking over everything that I did wrong that day, how many times I yelled at them, how I didn't feed them the right food, how I wasn't as kind as I wanted to be. And I said, well, no wonder you hate parenting. You're really focusing on the aspects that aren't going well for you. So we changed her mind frame by giving her this one simple assignment, which is what I want you to try. It's to count your rights. At the end of the day, how many things did you do right that day? Were you kind to your daughter? Did you help her with something when you really didn't want to, or there was something else you could have done? How many times did you lower your voice instead of yelling as loud as you could? How many times were you truly happy that day? Once you shift your focus and you start focusing on what's right, you will start feeling more successful as a parent, just like my client did. After just a week of practicing this, she realized that she really was a great parent and that she enjoyed her children and she loved being their mom. So those are my top 5 tips to guilt-free parenting. Figure out your top 3 values. Do the centering exercises. Try the walk and talk. Change the word have to into want to, and count your rights. I know you're going to love them. I love them. I use them every day, and I hope you do too. So I'll see you next time. Have an amazing day. Bye.